We all have a story. Your story is not my story, and my story is not yours. However, we can find joy, hope, and emotional healing even through our most painful moments in life. Let's walk and take this journey of healing together, one step at a time, because your story does not define you. Hey there, and hello, God's beautiful people. Here we are again. We made it another day, y'all. We made the cut, and here we are again together on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. God has been so faithful to us, and let us be grateful for just this space of grace and for Him allowing us to be in this space today and seeing this day. What a blessing. Dr. Niesha here, and welcome back to Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to welcome you and say thank you so much for listening in and tuning in. And I would love for you to follow this podcast and share it with a friend. I am absolutely loving the conversations that has been taking place on this platform, and I hope that you are loving them too. I hope that you are sharing this podcast with your friends and that you are discussing these conversations and that you are looking forward to these conversations just as me. So what is your vibe today? Because remember, y'all, we decide our vibe. We are in control of what emotional state or mood that we decide to be in every day. And so it's important for us to do those self-checks and to check our vibe for the day. So for me, today, my vibe is grateful. I am totally grateful and have been in a space of gratitude, just grateful for God's blessings and for always showing up in my life. Like, I am so ecstatic in regards to the grace of God and just how He continues to just show up and be present in my life through the good and the bad. He has been so faithful, and for that I am so grateful and just want to try my best to stay in this space of gratitude. Look, I know that sometimes it's hard to be in a space of gratitude when so much is going on, but let me tell you, our lives could be so different. However, God just continues to show up in our lives, and that is more of a reason for us to be in a space of gratitude. So check your vibe today. What is your vibe? Because you decide your vibe. What emotional state are you in? So I recently started a new assignment about a month ago, and I wanted to have a conversation today just about this past week and how I've talked to so many different people in the therapy sessions and in my therapy room. And what kind of just was heavy on my mind today and heavy in my spirit is that I noticed a common theme last week with the conversations that I was having with clients. And that theme was that the majority of the people that I met and that we're talking to were going through some type of life transition. Whether it was a relationship has ended, their trauma has resurfaced in their life, they started a new job, ended a job, going through stress on their jobs. Some people were entering into renew relationships. Some people were on their journeys of sobriety and healing from other things. And not only that, some of the people that I spoke with have accomplished so much, and they have helped so many people. And they have just been wondering, with all these different life transitions taking place, people have been wondering, what is next? All of these different transitions are taking place in my life, some good, some bad. And the question has been, what is next? What is next in their lives and in their different journeys? And how do they get to the next chapter of their life? And what should they expect? So as I began to kind of reflect on my week last week and just about the conversations that I've had, it reminded me of a quote that I recently posted on one of my social media platforms, which read, "In your journey, there will be in-between times of transition. You may feel lost, confused, angry, unseen, or empty. Don't confuse these times of transition as a forever state of being or being broken. You are breaking away from what was creating space to welcome what will be." And that author is unknown. Look, when I read this quote, y'all, it was so profound to me that I had to share it on my social media platforms. And as I began to read this quote, it just really resonated with me because it is so very true that transitions can be hard and really cause us to be in a space where we feel stuck, lost, and confused, broken. And sometimes it just leaves us in a space of wondering, okay, I'm not completely fulfilled. I've accomplished so many things. I've helped so many people, but there still is something missing. And what is that something? What is next? So if we look at transitions, we can see that transitions are just what they are defined to be. They are the process or a period of changing from one state or condition to another. So moving from one place to the next, not stopping and having a seat when something happens to us and giving up on hope when life is lifing. However, it is giving yourself time and permission to process all of the circumstances that have contributed to the transition and shifting that is taking place in your life. And how is it shifting for the betterment of your life? So discovering what is the next chapter. So I really, really want to encourage you that as we have this conversation today, that I really want you to move from a place of being stuck and move your mindset from a place of being stuck and living in fear because you don't know what is the next chapter of your life. Because we always don't know what the next chapter is going to be, and we don't know how to take the next step sometime. However, if you continue to keep living and not give up hope, even amidst the confusion, feeling lost, feeling scared, feeling unseen, feeling empty, feeling broken, feeling unfulfilled, don't take a seat in self-pity and put on the coat of the victim mentality. Instead, I want to tell yourself that the transitions that are happening in your life, they are happening for a reason, and they're taking place because they're trying to move you from one place that is familiar to another place that is new territory. And sometimes that new territory is unfamiliar to you, and that is okay because we all experience life transitions. And as long as we live and are on this earth, we will continue to experience life transitions and we will continue to go through things. When I think about just as a therapist and I put on my therapeutic mind frame as far as like transition from infancy to adulthood, I just think about the different transition from infancy to adulthood, from to being a teenager, to being an elderly and adult, and just thinking about all the different life experiences that we go through. We go through so many things. We start off, wondering. As an infant, we don't really have a lot of worries because we're not in the mindset to be able to hold and know that we have to have safety, right? We have to have shelter. We have to have clothing. So we depend on our parents to provide these things to us. And sometimes our parents don't do that. Sometimes our parents fail in providing the things that we need when we are in infancy. So then when we become a teenager, we are in a space where we're trying to create our identity and learn who we are, and we start making decisions for ourselves. Then we transition to adulthood, and then we transition to older adulthood, where we start thinking about the end of life and preparing to make arrangements to provide for the people that we're going to leave here. These are all life transitions, and all of these transitions can be so scary because we don't know what's next. So if we just look at what's taking place in the world right now, there is so much that is going on everywhere. It doesn't just stop in one state, but there's so much going on in the world in so many different countries. And we are dealing with things that are affecting our personal lives. We also are dealing with things that are world issues that are beyond our control. And guess what? Life be lifing for real, y'all. It really be taking place. Like some things be really taking place. And it really leaves us in a space of really wondering what's next. So like even the elections are coming up. We have November's coming up really quickly, and the elections are coming up. And so many people are wondering about what's next. Like who's going to be take the seat of presidency and what is next for our country, what is next for our world. So I really wanted to just spend a few minutes today with you and to just really encourage you not to give up on hope, and don't get stuck wondering about what is next and what is the next chapter of your life. I just want you to find confidence and find hope and faith that whatever is next for you is the thing that is supposed to be next for you. Now, as we go to the next chapter of our life, sometimes we have to crawl, sometimes we have to walk, sometimes we have to run, and we just have to figure it out as we go. The thing that I want you to keep in mind is that don't get stuck. So if you have to crawl, if you have to walk, if you have to run, just don't get stuck. Allow yourself to shift in whatever direction that you are going in that season or in this season of your life. And sometimes when we are shifting and we're going through different seasons in our lives, it means that some people that has been in our lives, even for a really long time, that they can no longer go with us to the next chapter. Sometimes those people that have been in our intimate circle, we are outgrowing them, or God is elevating us. And sometimes we have to leave those people behind. It doesn't mean that we don't love them. It doesn't mean that we don't have to have conversations with them. But sometimes it's just time for us to move forward in the next chapter of what is next that God has for us. So coming out of relationships, some of us have been in relationships and have been on jobs for a really long time and are struggling with letting go of what was attached to us in that relationship or in that job. But don't be afraid to let that go. Let go of what is not going with us into the next season, and allow for what is and what is to be in our life to go with us in the next season, because we have to be able to allow ourselves to move and transition to what is next, whatever that may be. I know it's hard and I know it hurts sometimes. And I just want you to remind yourself that you will be okay. You will be okay as you make these life transitions. And if you have confidence in knowing that God's grace and mercy is covering you, know that He is always near, and He does have your best interests in mind, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when it's scary. Know that God is always with you and He's covering you, and He is always near. So don't let fear overtake you as you try to figure out what is the next chapter in your life and what is next. But I challenge you today to not let fear overwhelm you or overtake you, but have faith in yourself, knowing that the next chapter can be greater if you let it be. Heal from old wounds. Out with the old and in with the new. Allow yourself to embrace what is coming, even if you don't see it. Don't allow the fear of the unknown to overtake you, but allow yourself to embrace it and be open and receive what is next in the next chapter, in the next season of your life. Because I guarantee you, as you continue to move and as you continue to make transitions and make shifts, things will all make sense. Even through those hurting times, we have to hurt through the pain, and we have to allow ourselves to continue to go. But most importantly, know that you got this. Dr. Niesha here, always rooting for you and always rooting for hope and healing in your life. You are on your way to being the best version of you. And sometimes becoming the best version of you, you have to go through hurt and pain. You lose people along the way. And sometimes you do get in a space of where you're wondering what is next. But know that during transition, as I mentioned earlier, there is going to be in-between times. You may feel lost. You may feel confused. You may feel angry. You may feel unseen. You may feel empty. You may even feel unfulfilled. However, don't confuse those times of transition as a forever state of being or being broken. You are just breaking away from things that don't serve you anymore to walk into the things that God has for you. Until next time, blessings on top of blessings.